Supercoach 360.
Mission.
Supercoach 360.
Makes me crook.
Supercoach 360 podcast.
Alrighty, sweet as. Well, why don't we kick straight on into it? Why don't we start with your list of mids, boys? Or should we go through the team list analysis first?
Yeah, I reckon just go through Ross's nice little quick recap that he did, so we're not stuck here for too long.
Well, I've got a couple, to be honest. I have.
Ross is uploaded to the website already, yeah?
Yeah, we've got a few. There's plenty of write-ups. Everyone's been waiting for this day, so as expected, everyone's studying the teams.
Well, the good people at Supercoach Hub have put together a bit of a team list analysis for us. Paul, the Poolman, has done a quick breakdown of what has been going on with the team. So we're not actually going to go through and read out the individual team list. Ross Mann has done some for us too. That's up on the website, www.supercoach360.com. It's where you're going to find all your Supercoach needs and news. All the teams are there. We've got a couple of breakdowns. There will be more in the coming days, no doubt. There's heaps of pre-season content. So if you're umming and ahhing, there's enough to plenty to sink your teeth into over there. www.supercoach360.com. So thank you very much to the good people at the Discord. Make sure you go join the Discord. It's SC Hub on Discord, or Supercoach Hub, sorry, on Discord. So for the Panthers, of course, the bombshell dropped this morning that Nathan Cleary will miss the first 3 rounds. So
I'd just like to say I told you so.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna. I knew you wouldn't let it slip. Con, were you rolling with Cleary up until TLT?
Yeah.
Have you dropped him?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna run through a price rise, holding on to nearly $1 million.
No, but I'm thinking about going the other way with it and just having the money sitting there, but still earning points off a second-rate halfback until Nate comes back, and you just get him straight in.
All right, and who is your
Jerome Hughes would probably be.
Jerome Hughes.
You're
not going to play around with some of the dual positions and downgrade straight to Keary?
Well, it could be Keary.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, for me, that's my.
I did downgrade to Keary, but
in the 5/8 position instead of in the half.
You don't want to wait and see a week just to see if Nath comes back the same, or?
No, I'm pretty confident with Nath. He's going to come back and do what Nath does.
Yeah.
The other one everyone's obviously talking about due to Nathan Cleary being out is your boy Mitch Moses. You've been talking about him for weeks. You love him.
Oh, look, you know how I get with Mitch. Yeah. It's a love-hate relationship. He's got a very low floor, which bothers me a lot. Like,
he's got an easy draw.
It's not as easy as people think. Like, I had a look today, and some of these games where they're saying it's a shoe-in, well, Sharks, I think, will be competitive, and I think the Titans will be competitive.
Yep. No, well, yeah, 100%.
There's a couple of games in there which I just think could go either way, and it all comes down to what Parramatta turns up. Like, they look great in the trials the other week against Penrith. Take nothing away from that, but NRL's different, and some of these...
Take Nathan Cleary out of Penrith near Schmozzle, so...
Yeah, and have they got them early on in the piece? Do they have them in the first 3 rounds? Does anyone know offhand?
Don't think so.
Well, there you go. That doesn't matter then. So, but look, I wouldn't say no to going Mitch Moses with their draw, but I think they...
Who's in your team right now?
I don't know.
Wow, okay. Beautiful. He's
Well,
clearly done his research.
I haven't had a look.
Okay, for the Panthers as well, Targo has been given first crack at the left centre. It's a lethal left edge, and it's where a lot of the Penrith attack goes, so there's definitely points galore over there. He's got a very Supercoach-friendly game, 287k. In Poolman's opinion, he should be in everyone's team.
What, did they specify he was starting on the left-hand side?
Stephen Crichton was on the right-hand side last year, and I personally think Cleary has broken up Bizzer and the boys for a reason, because he needs a player in between them, because otherwise Crichton's not as effective. I don't know if it's that or it's just because his passing game is better on the other side or something, but Crichton's played right centre all through the trials, and I do believe he's going to play right centre. For the Sea Eagles, should we press that turbo button at the record $1.25 million? It's going to hurt the hip pocket, but you can be confident. You're going to have to be confident you've nailed picking the rest of your team, as you'll likely have one less gun than those without him as a result. Spending this money on one player, of course, means your depth is weakened, but if Turbo replicates last year, he may well be worth it. Quickly, anyone running Turbo?
Nah.
Too much money? Too much money for me? Yeah. No.
Too much for me, too.
All right, cool. Schuster is expected to be out for the next month. Lawton was expected to replace him, but Bullimore has been named in his spot. Olakuatu was expected to miss a week with Bullimore taking his place, but Olakuatu has been named. Poolman saw Lawton as the best option of the two at 65k more.
Not now.
But yeah, not now exactly. He's used to see Bullimore as a trap, but now he thinks that's Bullimore's jumped ahead and Lawton may now be the trap.
See, I don't know, because of their bench, they've got that Cooler, who's a centre wing on their bench, plus Carl Lawton, who's a back rower.
Well, he's a
So-
hooker.
Yeah, I think
Carl
Lawton's
Lawton-
the backup hooker.
Lawton for me will be the hole filler.
Yeah.
He'll be the, if someone goes down, he can plug the hole. Hooker, lock probably.
Because then the one that sticks out for me out of that list was Sipley at the front row, because with that bench, I think he's going to get decent minutes,
Well,
and he's
where's-
cheaper than all of them.
Where's Panseca?
He's on the bench.
Is he? I can't see him staying down there for too long. He's effective.
Yeah, but he might be more effective brought into the game 20 minutes in.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
strange, because, Gerbo can play 80 there, but it's going to be interesting, those minutes. With
Well,
that bench.
Gerbo, he's getting older.
So quickly on the cheapie, the surprise cheapie in Manly, Taufafawa Sipley. Do you go near him? Is he a trap?
He'll do the same thing as Paseka did last year, chug along 40s, 50s.
Okay, but his place isn't threatened by someone who's out injured or suspended at this point?
Not that
No.
I know of.
Sweet ass. So the minute should be there, and it could be well worth taking a punt on, yeah?
There's a few. There's Max King. There's a few at that price range as well.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah,
And
so,
we'll go
yeah.
through
We'll
cheapies
go
a
through
little bit
them, yeah.
later
Yeah.
on, but just that one was sort of a surprise name for me too when we were having a look earlier. All right, the Raiders versus the Sharks is the second game. So for the Raiders, Fogarty have been gifted the 175k bargain basement halfback in Brad Schneider. Personally, he's made his way into my team. I'm going to have a little bit of a look. His bargain basement. Another surprise for me in the Raiders was James Schiller. I couldn't see him on the Supercoach books, but Con seems to have found him now. How much was he, Con?
Bottom dollar, 175,400,
175, yeah. So, is he a trap?
He's a jewel.
Yeah, he's trapped.
Yeah, he's a trap. Yeah.
Rapana will be back.
Sebastian Chris will be back.
All right, cool. For the Sharks, Hines shapes up as an option to replace Cleary as your halfback. Personally, not for me, but you do you.
Guy, neither, eh? Like, what is off him? Why he's off Nico so much?
I mean, the change in club and the change in position. For me,
Oh, yeah, I can just never go someone leaving Melbourne. The position doesn't worry me too much, but yeah, just the fact that he's left Melbourne. Like I don't see Sharks as high as what everyone else sees them. So that's my only worry. And the price, he's priced almost 700k.
That's it. I reckon at 60, 85k, you can come out, use 4 or 5 weeks for them to get to match fitness, see a few glimpses of what he's going to be able to do while they get their combinations to click in game mode, and probably pick him up 6 rounds later. Or in round 6 or something like that for about 550k.
Like, I'm just thinking, like, I remember, like, our first year, I think it was our first year, our second year podcasting, and we had Banksy on. And he put it in my head a couple of things, like when you start out with that top guy, or at least near that top guy, like, if he performs, then well done. If he doesn't, then you can cover and get anyone you want.
Nico's coming off fullback scores, not 5/8 scores. So for me, that argument doesn't apply to him this year. In fact, I think it's dangerous to apply that argument to him this year because we don't have a price based off 12 months or a season in that position. And I mean, and that was in one of the better sides. But the fullback in Melbourne just gets points because of the way Melbourne structures and generates their plays. So I think it was almost transferable between him and Papi last year. I don't know how much can be put down to their individual brilliance. Not to say they're not individually brilliant players. They definitely are. But I think there's just a certain system that just leads to fullback points at the Storm. And I just don't believe that he's worth that much yet. Let's see.
And also, just the other options, like you've got at the price point even cheaper, you can go for Sammy Walker or someone else in the halves. You're obviously not going to go him at fullback. So you'd go him in the halves. But I just think there's better options for cheaper.
You got a Nico say?
Yeah, I don't mind if you're going to do what I said about Nathan with saving the money and having Nico for the first 5 weeks against Canberra, Para, Dragons, Newcastle Tigers. He could rack up some good scores there, I think, and be a good swap up to Nathan.
Good stuff.
Alrighty. So Broncos Souths for the Broncos. Sorry, I haven't finished with the Sharks. We just started talking about Hines. So Hines apparently should maintain the goal kicking even if Trindle makes his way back into the team. Could be used as an emergency switch to fullback should one of your guns go down in that elite position, obviously because of his dual position. The Sharks have a good draw early on, only playing one team in the first 5 rounds against a heavyweight, which is the Eels, as you just mentioned. Mulatol has been named at centre. Sticky Icky has made his way to the wing. Connor Tracy hasn't been named at all.
Do we know what the go with that is?
No,
Why
I
hasn't
haven't heard anything. Chris
It's a
McClellan,
bit strange.
if you're there, mate, jump in the comments and let us know. If anyone knows,
Crusade.
it's probably you. Wilton at 427k is named to replace Graham in the back row, while Talakai, the preferred Supercoach option, remains on the bench. I'm an R about Talakai. The bench puts me off him, but I know the dude's a monster and he's a worker. And when he does
Even
come
when
on
he got the
field,
starting spot last year, he did nothing.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just
grab
that his style of play doesn't translate that well to Supercoach. But man, he looks like he's out there doing a lot. You see him a lot. Maybe it's just because he's recognisable. I don't know. All right, moving on. The Broncos. So Haas, obviously, is a gun option in the Broncos. You can't go wrong with him. Saves the trade later. Stags is underpriced, sure to increase in value. He often creates something from nothing and has a high ceiling. Cobbs at 320k is awkwardly priced, but named on the wing. Currently at 26% ownership. Billy Walters has been named in the number 6. However, Albert Kelly is named to replace A-Ray at number 7. So, I don't know. For me personally, that battle is Nova.
Does anyone have a preferred? Like, does anyone know the preferred? Will it be Kevy's son or will
Billy
it be...
Walters? Billy Walters is the word that I've heard. Poolman has confirmed Billy Walters in this. Well, he's saying that he thinks Billy Walters being named at 6 shows that he's won the jersey. But for me, I think jury's still out.
I reckon Kelly.
If you're gonna buy the two, obviously you'd go for Walters because he's cheaper. But if you're gonna think who's gonna play, I think Albert Kelly with Con. I think he'll get the nod.
Yeah. Reynolds is out due to COVID. Palacia, 349, is named to start at prop in place of the suspended Flegler, who's out until round 4. Turpin's named to start at hooker with Pakes and Hetherington not named due to COVID restrictions. Okay, so that could be a watch and act on those two. I was looking at Pakes. I didn't realise there was a COVID thing up there with him. Souths, no major surprises. Milne has beaten the source for the right wing. Paulo for 375k at right centre is the cheapest centre wing option in the Souths team. Most people will be waiting for the top gun AJ to drop in value before they jump on. He's currently at 4% ownership. Walker at 5'8" for 735k has 7.6% ownership, and currently Lachlan Ilias, the halfback, the cheapy halfback at 205k, is 55% ownership. He's looking like he's shaping up to be a must-have, filling a big hole there with A-Ray. Do we know if there's any options sort of waiting in the wings? They've got to have some depth at the club, but is everything sort of pinned on this kid or what?
Taft's the other option.
Taft's the other option. So there's always that job security issue there. Personally, I'm taking the punt I'd assume all of you guys.
He looked good. He looked good in the trials, and you said...
And Dean Hawkins is also a halfback.
And Demetrio... Is it Demetrio?
Yeah.
Demetrio come out and said it's his spot to lose, so you can at least give him 5 weeks, I reckon.
Yep, fair enough. Supercoach gun Cameron Murray has been named, but he's coming back from a similar injury to Nathan Cleary, and he's questioned whether he will actually play. So maybe just watch the late mail on that coming out. The Roosters versus the Knights. For the Roosters, Billy Smith has won the selection at left centre, named this week. Currently at about 294k, so just south of 300k. He's had massive raps on him, and unfortunately he's been plagued by injury. Bergs, you've had huge raps on this kid for years now, literally.
Well, he's made me team the last couple of years and got hurt prior to the year starting. So
are you taking the gamble this year, or you think he's a trap?
Look, you're in the Roosters side.
Yeah, that's it for me.
If you're in the side, you're getting something.
He'd have to be the cheapest option next to Joseph Suwali, who's still out injured for a couple of weeks. Does Suwali knock him out of the team when he comes back, though?
Not sure, to be brutally honest with you.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure what they'll do there. Got Kevin Naguama, who they brought back from Super League for depth as well, and he was doing pretty well from all reports over there. And when he left here, he wasn't scoring bad Supercoach-wise for a centre wing. if I remember right.
Either way, I think you'd want their wingers, in particular their right wing, which at the moment's Momorowski, but when Suwali comes back, that could change.
Yeah, well, that's it. So it's a question of who's got the job
Would
security
you-
there. Is it Momo or is it...
Boys personally sit Suwali on your benches,
I
knowing
am.
that he's coming
Yeah,
in
I
a
am.
few weeks, save you bringing in the trades? Or,
100% I am.
yeah.
Not for me, only because there's too many other centre wings that are starting cheapies. It's a bit strange. Normally there's always not many options, but I feel as though this year there's quite a few, which is good.
What about you, bud?
No, I won't be either, just in case they start on a roll and he doesn't get a look in.
Yeah, it's a good theory.
All right, no, I'm saving the trade. Should be worth it. Watson's got the hooking gig this week, but Sam Verrills is back from suspension next week. So it's a question of does he maintain or does he go back to the bench to play 14? For the Knights, Daniel Scifiti is expected to miss the first month with a fractured tibia. Mon Masia at 205k and Thompson 175k, both in the front row. Mon Masia has dual position as well. Young replaces their injured Hunt on the wing, so Mann is named to start at lock. They've got a 3-forward bench lacking experience, so Mann should be getting good game time if you're looking to jump on that. Hooker Chris Randall is the pick of the bunch, 245k, expected to play about at least 60 minutes. You guys all jumping on Randall?
I am now that Heverington, like Kobe Heverington
He's
from
gone.
the Broncos hasn't been named, and I don't know what role he'll play now that actual TLT's here and he's got COVID, so I can't run the gamble that he's getting that lock spot. So I've had to overlook him and put in Randall.
Yeah. And would you start with Jacob Scifiti if he's going to get the first 4 weeks of starting front row before he goes back to the bench?
Ideally, I'd like it to be 5 or 6 weeks, just for those extra couple of rises. But yeah, I don't mind him, eh? He took his game to another level last year.
Con?
Yeah, I don't mind it. He can find a try. Both of the Saifitis can find a try. So if he can find a couple early in season before Daniel comes back, could make some good coin early.
Yeah, and then there's always a chance Dan gets in for Origin as well, and Jacob picks up and keeps doing front row throughout the Origin period as well.
Well, that's a given, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Warriors versus the Dragons. For the Warriors, teen sensation Valia is 175k, bottom dollar centre wing cheapie. Named today. I'd never heard of him personally. He seems to have won his spot ahead of Pompey and Arthurs, who have both been named to the reserves. Other than Valia, there's no real surprises. AFB was captain of the side, should get good minutes as a result. Aitken, Katoa and Curran are also the Supercoach options. But you've got a 4-man bench, 4-forward bench that has to give the minutes department. Storm recruit Aaron Penne will debut from the bench as part of that. So Aitken, Katoa, and then Curran. Who's going to lose out? Which side does Tofu usually play?
Who plays Curran 13? Like he'll play 13 in the middle.
He plays lock. So then where would Curran shift to? Or does Curran get dropped when Tofu comes back? Because that's my only concern.
Curran will shift to an edge, you'd have to say.
Yeah. So then who gets dropped there?
But it's not for 10 weeks.
So, okay, so then really one of these edges should be in there in your team because one of them's...
I've got Elise Katoa in my side at the moment at 350.
Yeah, you haven't gone Ewan Aitken? Slightly more expensive.
I think with my readjustments, I did put Ewan Aitken in my centre wings.
Yeah.
As well, so I've got both. At the moment.
Expecting the Warriors to go on a run this year, eh? Premiership favourites.
I don't expect premiership favourites, but they've got a pretty juicy draw early. SJ's home. If we get 7 to 8 games out of him, then that's good for the forwards.
Fair enough.
He's not running as much no more, so we've all talked about how he's facilitating some of these big boys, and Ewan Aitken runs perfect line. It's good for SJ. It's good for the Warriors.
All right, sweet.
One thing I will say just on that, with the Warriors, they've got Bailey Sirinen and Ben Murdoch-Masila on the bench, who can both play edges. So
I think Murdoch-Masila's a front man now. He's big boy. The game's just a bit fast for him to be standing on an edge. He's a very, very big boy.
Oh, there's plenty of big boys that play on the edges, don't you
Yeah,
worry.
but they're mobile.
Well, you know what? I guess we will find out
He's
come
solid.
this weekend. That's the big question. Let's have a look and let's find out what happens. So for the Dragons, Bird is an option at centre wing or second row forward, dual position. He's expected to play big minutes, although he's one of the most expensive dual position centre wing second rowers. And the rumour is he's unhappy that the rumours he's unhappy aren't going away. DeBellin's another big one to consider. Under 500k, expected to play big minutes, only 2% ownership. I think Guy was talking about Jack last week.
Yeah, love it.
Amone is the one who interests me. Personally, I've got him as well. Stashed in my centres. Awkward price cheapy, but yeah, that versatility of a starting 5/8 in my centres is what draws me there. Sloan gets the fullback spot. Is available at centre wing for 447k, and for this reason, second most owned Dragons player at 15%. George Burgess hasn't been named to play, so
15% for Sloan.
Yeah. For those who had George Burgess, you're going to have to get rid of him because he has not made the team this week.
Not a fan of Sloan, Con.
Not at that price.
Not at all.
Look, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Sloan. If he was 300k, I'd jump all over him. But
Well, what about
440k?
Juzzy said that he would go the 5'8 Amoni just because he's cheap, but Ramsey's named and he's cheaper than Amoni is.
Yeah, but we've seen Ramsey for like a year and a half now, and he's not gotten much better. Amoni, we're sinking some faith into, hopefully that he gets better. Whereas Ramsey, don't get me wrong, Ramsey's had his moments. You know, he scored well a couple of games, but he's not consistently doing it.
I mean, look, he raises a good point, though. With a new halves combination there and with a Moan there, Cody Ramsey could be the beneficiary of that because he'll play on the left and Ramsey's out on the left wing as well, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, look, personally, I keep going past Cody Ramsey. I don't know why. I just keep looking at him and going, oh, no,
Whisperer
you're
loves
cheap.
you.
You're cheap, but I don't really like the idea.
There's a few at that price point that you can do the same thing, though, so...
I mean, like, you're right. I've jumped on a Moan, so maybe it should be something to consider. I don't know, I'm hoping a Moan, can make some magic through the middle there with Benny Hunt. They were looking, Benny was looking good.
Yeah, Benny did
And the
look
Dragon was looking a little bit better. I
Yeah.
can't really trust their attack, to be honest. I'm going against what I usually believe, but it's just a cheapie.
good. Con's got some stuff there.
Yeah, what do you got, Con?
What's that?
You looking at some stuff there? What are you looking at?
No, just on Sloan.
Oh, yeah. Anything?
Yeah, he only averaged 64 last year with 6 tries in 5 games, so...
He's not doing
he's
a
a-
lot of base work.
Yeah,
He's a
not
try
keeping that-
scorer.
Yeah, he's not
Yeah,
keeping that strike rate up, but I don't think...
You don't? I don't know. I reckon you can get the strike rate up, but...
You know that jersey
All
on,
right.
Baz.
Yeah, all right, hold on.
We might be listening to you.
So Tigers versus the Storm. We've got 2 more left. Tigers versus the Storm. News out of the West Camp is Kelma Tuolagi has won the second row forward starting spot. He's been named there, 253k. He was on Brad Smith's radar. I think he was on Ross Mann's radar as well. I think with his potential, Tuolagi can make this spot his own. His stocks will be on the rise now that he's selected. He's personally in my team. Both Tiger centres, Gildart at 280 and Roberts at 271 are fairly cheap. Go there at your own will, I suppose.
Don't go near Roberts.
Yeah, I can't touch the paper plane, that's for sure. No, Bergs is just, once again, audio medium shaking his
I
head.
just can't. I can't bring myself to put him in.
Nobody do it.
No, good. All right, sweet as. Gildart comes from the English League with high raps, but it's harder for them to transition to the NRL in the backs. With another injury to Little, Simpkin becomes an option at hooker for 322. Personally, not for me either. Hastings, 350k is expected. Is named at 5'8". He's currently in 27% of teams. Poolman understands that Brooks will be goal kicking, but if Hastings kicks, he will obviously become even more juicy. I'm umming and ahhing with him at the moment. There's a few options for cheapies in the half.
Is
now.
Dewey their natural kicker, isn't he? Like he's the team's kicker when he's playing, Dewey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like
I
Hastings.
don't really remember Luke Brooks ever kicking goals, so it might be Hastings' job.
I think it'd be either Hastings or Laurie. I'd lean towards Hastings.
Either way, yeah, I think even with the goal kicking, how many tries they're going to score?
Couple. Not many.
I don't know. I just think at 350, it's an awkward price. Like, especially in the halves, you've got the likes of Schneider, Ilias, even Amoni, like he said. So
Yeah, you've
you've got so many options there. So yeah, I think there's better ones.
I think there's.
Yeah, I think there's better options, but they're called Munster and Walker, and are you going to fork that out? Apart from Keary, I don't see anything in between. So it's one extreme to the other.
Oh, I don't. I think you can hold Munster for the week.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was considering. But now I'm looking at maybe downgrading him to Keary and starting with Keary. Seeing how he's doing in round one, I'm still an Aaron. I think Keary's got the dual position, so I could use him for the Nath downgrade now and still possibly hold Munster. Play Ilias in one of them. For the Storm, much to the delight of Supercoach's, Puppy has been named to play at fullback for round one. Expect him to become the most owned Storm player if he takes the field. Currently, Coates is the most owned because he's obviously covering Josh Addo-Carr. And his wing partner in Jennings on the other side costs 120k more, so he's a bit of a bargain there. Is Josh King a trap at 255?
For me, he is.
Yeah, why not?
Because Harry Grant's not playing this week. So he'll get extended minutes probably this week at lock.
Yeah.
Whereas next week when Harry's back, I can see Cheese going into that position and old mate going to the bench.
All right, sweetos.
He's a trap if you look at him as if he's going to start
Week in,
lock
week out.
every week. But if you look at him as a slow burner, cash cow, he could be an option.
Yeah.
At 250.
I'll admit I was and he made his way on a few of my lists today.
He could also be the Spencer Liniu of last year and just burn you.
Yeah. Okay. Tepai Moeroa, did he end up getting named?
No, he didn't even make the 17.
Yeah.
Didn't even make the 24. I don't know if it's COVID related or whatnot, but
Yeah.
Bergs. I'm putting this all on you, Bergs. You've been bigging up in this dude. He's got a distinctive name. I can't help but remember it. Every time I go to pick forwards, I pick Tepai Moeroa. Oh, look, your first cheaper you come across, Tepai Moeroa.
He's cheap.
Don't you? Yeah, but he's not bloody named. Oh, see, every year you do this to me, and
I
the
don't
dude's
have
still
him.
in my team. Yeah, of course. Anyway, last game, Eels v the Titans. Parramatta have named the same 17 that conveniently beat the Panthers in the trial match 2 weeks ago. The Panthers pack was obviously very depleted, but Paulo, 487 Ks, one who Poolman sees going under the radar, started with an impressive 79 points per game in the first 4 rounds last year. Did include his only 2 tries for the year as well. Paulo's co-captain should get good game time, so let's see what happens there. With the price of Turbo and Puppy's injury concern, the other co-captain, Gutho, is a consideration for the fullback spot. Lots of people call him Mr. Reliable. With the Eels' easy draw, he might just pile the points on. Personally, not for me either. Marnie is one to consider at hooker. With Grant out, see Marnie as the number 1 hooker this weekend. Also, obviously, Moses, we've had a bit of a chat about, but the halves were looking good during that trial match with the Panthers. For the Titans, Gold Coast has been named as expected. Brimson goes to 5'8" with Campbell at fullback. Firma, 379k. Back rower, centre wing dual position. Starts in the second row with Proctor reverting to the bench. Lots of people have been on Firma. There's been a lot of talk about him the entire preseason. There's a bit of talk about him last year. He was showing a bit of promise. The 3-man forward bench is named only. Good news for Firma, who may now play the 80 minutes. For Feeder, obviously super pricey at 745k. For peace of mind, find a way to include him into your team. To be honest, I made the strengthening that I was actually happy with last night by getting rid of David Fafita and now Armin and Aaron. But to be honest, I can probably do the same thing now that Nate's out for the 3 weeks. Bring Davey back in and make the tweaks I still want to. So cheering about that.
yeah, Diffie's locked for me.
Yeah, that's it. Well, when I asked if you guys all had him earlier, you guys all thought I was crazy for getting rid of him. So yeah, all right, that'll be an interesting one. Now I've got to figure out how to make that money back to get Nath when he comes back in it. Alrighty, so that is our team list analysis. Thank you very much to the Supercoach Hub Discord. Link is in the description. So make sure you go through and check them out. They put out heaps of good content. They know their stuff. And there's a whole bunch of awesome Supercoach minds in there. If Discord's your thing, make sure you check it out.
Supercoach 360 podcast.